The Lord be with you. And with your spirit. Reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus went to the district of Tyre. He entered a house and wanted no one to know about it, but he could not escape notice. Soon a woman whose daughter had an unclean spirit heard about him. She came and fell at his feet. The woman was a Greek, Syrophoenician by birth, and she begged him to drive the demon out of her daughter. He said to her, "Let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the food of the children and throw it to dogs." She replied to him and said, "Lord, even the dogs under the table eat the children's scraps." Then he said to her, "For saying this, you may go. The demon has gone out of your daughter." When the woman went home, she found the child lying in bed and the demon gone. The Gospel of the Lord. Our saga in Genesis continues as we're reading from Genesis for about the next 2 weeks. So this morning it's the first creation account, and we hear how God said, "Hey, it's not good for man to be alone." So he made him the animals. None of them felt like a suitable partner, and so he made him a woman, right? And he says, "Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. This one shall be called woman, for out of her man this one has been taken." Okay, and then we see this really beautiful line that says, "The man and the wife were both naked, and yet they felt no shame." John Paul II would call this original nakedness. Okay, so John Paul II, he used the creation text from Genesis to really hone in on what he called the theology of the body. Well, I don't know if he even called that. It's what we call it today. John Paul's works called the theology of the body. And he goes back and he kind of speaks of the original states of man, these original experiences, original holiness, original nakedness. I think there's probably a couple more, I don't know. But he goes back and he kind of shows this how man was originally created, and then he contrasts that with the fall and what we experience now in our human nature, because now we don't look at men and women, we don't look at nakedness without shame, right? There's now a fear. In fact, when we see after the fall, one of the first things man and woman experiences was they both noticed they were naked and they were afraid, they were ashamed, and they clothed themselves with fig leaves. Okay, so he kind of uses this original experiences to take us back to understand what we were created for and how we were created, and then to understand the fall, what we're dealing with now, that helps us understand the remedy, Jesus. Okay, if we don't quite understand what's broken, the remedy doesn't quite make sense. I mean, it does, but it's helpful to understand what's broken, what the fix is, and then how we can cooperate with them both. That's John Paul's methodology with the theology of the body. But the two were created naked without shame. That's profound, because we don't experience that today. Today we experience lust. And I would say, lust and nakedness, but also just lust in general. And there's a lot there, but I would just say lust is like mine. I want it. It's mine, And especially when it comes to nakedness, it's all a gravitational pull to me. Okay, that's disordered, right? And that is a result of the fall. So we haven't got to the fall yet, so I don't want to spoil alert here, but it's coming. Okay, but yesterday we heard in Genesis it said, man could eat from any tree in the garden except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So part of these original experiences, man just experienced the good. He just saw the good. It was all good. Now, because of the fall, because of the disobedience, eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, we experience just that. Knowledge of good and evil. The two ways. And we gravitate towards the evil. That's our fall. But we were created to just choose the good. Okay, so now that, say, lust has entered the world, we we look for, it's all about mine, me, I want, And I guess the antidote that Jesus brings is love. So where lust is mine, love is you. You. I look after you. Okay, that's what Jesus says. No greater love hath the man than to lay down his life for his friends. It's all about the other. Okay, like Thomas Aquinas would say, love is to will the good of the other. Like I'm always looking towards you. Okay, so that's the remedy. Jesus gives us the grace to work that out. We have to work with it. But he also shows us how it's done. So here in our gospel today, I guess what catches me, how Jesus interacts with women. There's not the lust component. We see him dialoguing with women all the time. The woman at the well is kind of the penultimate. Oh my goodness, you're talking to a woman. I guess they didn't do that back then. But our Lord is able to do that because he doesn't have lust in his heart. He has love. He doesn't see women as objects for him. He sees them as daughters, sisters. He loves them. He looks after their good, So that's we got on one hand, we got the fall, lust, and on the other hand, we got the remedy, love. Okay, we're stuck in the middle currently. So, we still lust. We don't want to, think that we're all fixed and we can just go about life without prudence. No, we still have that in us. So we choose not to put ourselves in those situations where we are tempted to lust. And then we work on love with the help of God's grace. So it's a bit of a ball of wax, but there is a remedy. And I feel like part of the remedy is knowing what's broken. Okay, we got the original experiences, which we were created for, love. And now we got the fall where we do lust after things and after each other. So Jesus comes to remedy of us, but we have to kind of understand what's broke, cooperate with his grace, and choose to love as he has loved us.